We definitely want a rocket to reach Uranus.
Okay, so we've got a lot of things to get through in today's show. There's a lot of things happening in the world today. We've got the painting of King Charles being defaced by the usual suspects, you know, vegans, autists, or a combination thereof. We've also got a violent anecdotes about Prince Harry, which I'd never heard before.
How did it get so dark so fast?
And, I think you'll find quite interesting. Very, very disturbing. So a bit of light royal news. What else have we got? Yeah, speaking of usual suspects, we've got Broke Ho Kevin Spacey crying his little porcine eyes out on Piers Morgan about how he's having to pay all these legal bills to get himself off the hook with all of those heinous crimes he was accused of. So there's that and so much more. You know what this show's like. It's very random. Anything can happen. Anything at all.
Jaguars are the most aquatic of all big cats.
Oh, Daniel Boland, this is a heavy hitter. Do you guys know who this is?
So we're going to start off by taking a look at these two absolute spastics who took it upon themselves to commit an act of domestic terrorism by defacing a beautiful painting of our monarch. Something we don't stand for here on the Daniel Boland Show, especially when it's a couple of freedom fighters like these. What's the word for this kind of man, right? The innocuous-looking little beardy, weirdy, round spectacled bitch! You know, they are the most dangerous people in society. They really are. You know, I'm not saying everyone who looks like that is dangerous, but if they're activist-y types, very dangerous. They wouldn't think twice about murdering. They would do all kinds of horrible shit. You don't need to worry about people like me. I've incorporated my shadow. Okay? But these guys, they're running away from their damn shadows.
Good afternoon, Britain. Some breaking news now. As animal rising activists have graffitied a king's new portrait as part of their campaign for the RSPCA to drop their Assured Farm scheme.
Yes, this is quite something. This is the portrait that was...
I'm spasticus, autisticus.
It was quite controversial, wasn't it? Everyone had a view on this very latest portrait.
God, yeah, that was an interesting week, wasn't it? When everyone suddenly became an art critic overnight, you know. I'm glad I stayed out of that one. Because, I mean, my video on what I thought of the portrait of King Charles would have been about 20 seconds long. I liked it. Nice colour.
And by the looks of it, these animal rising activists have taken it upon themselves to slap some kind of sign. It's Gromit from Wallace and Gromit, isn't it?
And I just find it just beyond belief that the security in this gallery can see people wander in with massive, sticky comedy stickers, and not just that, but big paint rollers too, and think, oh, nothing's going on here. These two people, it's very normal to walk into a portrait gallery with two massive paint rollers.
What in Christ's name is going on at GB News?
The journalistic standards.
I just find it very, very hard to understand quite how we arrived at this situation.
And why was there a camera set up there with a cameraman?
Oh, yeah, I can.
Seems a bit bizarre.
Yeah, well, I guess they've got a point, haven't they? I mean, I would love to be working on the security team at that museum. Oh, boy. I wouldn't be, you know, instead of racially profiling, what would you call it? I would, anyone who looks vaguely retarded coming into the gallery, you know, I'd be on them like a hawk with my taser in hand. Danny, it's just a field trip from the special school. Yeah, that's what they all say. Right? Be bloody mayhem.
That is madness.
Yeah, he's absolutely right there, my old fishing buddy, Douglas Murray. And speaking of madness, let's hop across the pond now and see how our friends over in the US of A are getting on. How are they gearing up for a whole month of Pride celebrations and Juneteenth and lots of other millennia-old sacred traditions from the USA. We're going to take a look at what's going on at the White House. They're having a bloody blast. Now, disappointingly, but somewhat inevitably, people have used this clip to make fun of poor old Joe Biden. They're saying he's sharted his pants. They broke him. Pride broke Joe Biden. That he's frozen, whatever. Lots of memes with the the windows shutting down thing, whatever. Very funny, but I'm going to steel man Joe Biden for a little bit here because I'm going to get you to just do a little mental exercise here. Imagine you're the 82-year-old president of the United States of America, the leader of the free world. And they've got you flanked by Kamala Harris and her beta bitch cook of a husband. I don't even know his name. Nobody even cares, do they? Bill. Let's just call him Bill. That's on one side of you. Them cringe dancing weirdo, don't know how to behave in public spastics. All right. And to the left of you, you've got George Floyd's brother. I think that's George Floyd's brother. If it isn't, I apologise. I think it is so. Who, by the way, come on, have a bit of... Well, I guess it's Pride season, isn't it? It's not humility season. And don't take that the wrong way. I love Pride. Pride season, June as it used to be known. And don't let the name fool you, by the way. Pride isn't the only deadly sin being celebrated throughout the month of June. Now, there's definitely lust, I would say. Lots of lust going on there in Pride season. But he's got George Floyd's brother, who, after a while, what do you say to him? That's awkward. I've suffered from social anxiety throughout my life. If I've got Kamala Harris, who's really not enjoying herself, she's just such... That's not even a real person. Her husband's even worse. You'll see in the clip what I mean when they're dancing and they don't know how to look at each other. Ugh. And George Floyd's fucking brother. I'm sorry, nothing against George Floyd's brother, but what are you doing? Right? Have some humility. At some point you have to say, the party's over. We're not inviting your distant relatives to the White House anymore, George. We put a few statues up, that's enough. Sorry. You know what I mean? So we've got that. Then you pan out even further. We've got these two. I don't know who they are. Maybe someone can tell me. Pan out a little bit more, and we've got whatever that is. Now, I'm young and open-minded and all that, and it's Pride season. Bless whatever deity is in charge of that thing. Praise to Hades. What the fuck is an 82-year-old president, leader of the free world, gonna be feeling? Of course he's gonna freeze. I would freeze. I hate having to pretend I'm enjoying stuff. You cannot be enjoying that at 82 years of age when you may or may not have sharted your pants. Anyway, that's my steel manning of Joe Biden for today. This is the one time where I'd say I'm not sure this is anything to do with age. I can definitely relate to that. You know, being in a place where everyone's celebrating, having a great time, and you're there like, you know. I've said before, I live in Spain, and I'm not the most extroverted person in the world. You know, I prefer to be in small groups, and I live in the most extroverted nation on earth, I think. You know? They're not all feisty Latinas, don't get me wrong, they're not all like that. People in Spain are just very talkative and comfortable with large groups of people. And so, on many occasions, I have been in a bar where the music's too loud, and there's 30 of us, and the music is reggaeton, and so I'm just there like, while I hear until fucking 5 in the morning. All right? So I can identify with Joe Biden on this occasion, you know?
By the way, if they want to think to take on government, if we get out of line, which they're talking again about, well, guess what? They need F-15s. They don't need a rifle.
F-16s, please.
Okay, so let's take a quick look at Kevin Spacey's weepy appearance on Piers Morgan Uncensored. Now, I'm sure most of you know the backstory. A few years ago, Kevin Spacey, suddenly out of the blue, got accused of being very slimy around men. And his response was a little bit bemusing.
I am a gay. Oh!
Well, now he's been accused of being an island boy, right? He's been on Jeffrey Epstein's aeroplane more times than one would care to have been registered on one of those flights. So let's see how he's going to slip his way out of this one. The little weasel. What's he going to say now? He identifies as not having been there.
In 2015, I started seeing reports online, things on my Twitter account that I had flown to this guy Jeffrey Epstein's island and I had abused young girls. And I was like...
What? Me? Kevin Spacey? That's a very emotionally healthy response to that, because I would be like, ah, no! Right? I would be vomiting on the floor, screaming, losing my mind. If one day my Twitter feed were ever filled with such stuff. Yeah, I saw there's all these stories about me flying to Epstein Island and abusing girls. What on earth was that all about?
I mean, if you'd asked me in 2015, maybe even if you'd asked me in 2002, did I know a guy named Jeffrey Epstein? I probably would have said no.
Probably. What a strange thing to say. If you'd have asked me in 2015, heck, even if you'd have asked me earlier than 2015, I, on both occasions, would have probably said no. That is a very odd thing to say, is it not?
Well, of course, I have since learned who he is, and I have since been able to go back and find out that the airplane that we flew on for this humanitarian mission was owned by Jeffrey Epstein. And to then learn, oh, he was actually on some of those flights. And this Maxwell woman was on some of those flights.
Oh, that's extraordinary, isn't it? Now that all of the photo evidence and the flight logs have come out, it jogged my memory. I was like, yes, I did a lot of humanitarian missions all over the world with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
I didn't know him. I've never spent any time with him. I was with the Clinton Foundation people. That's who I was with.
That's worse, probably.
Now, what I understand is that he didn't start to be investigated until 2005 by authorities in Florida. So here's what I can tell you. This Maxwell woman, she was one of many people that sat down next to me in that throne room.
Oh, yeah. I mean, do we really expect Kevin Spacey to remember all of the people that he has sat on the throne at Buckingham Palace with? I can't remember all the people I've sat down with. Imagine being Kevin Spacey and you're just supposed to remember something like that. That was just another day in the life of Kevin Spacey. I've sat with thousands of people on the throne of Buckingham Palace.
I have no relationship with her. I had no relationship with him. I mean, he's not my friend.
Well, he's no one's friend anymore, is he? You know, the Clinton Foundation sorted that. No, they didn't. I'm joking.
He's not my friend. I'm not a confidant. I've never spent time with him. And interestingly, I will say this. I was very fortunate that President Clinton introduced me a lot of business leaders in London because he knew I was coming to the Old Vic. And I developed relationships with Robert Earl, Pula Ladobovich, Robert Earl, a lot of wonderful people, Sir Richard Caring, people who supported the work that we did at the Old Vic and gave money to us.
Now, I've said in previous videos that, yes, you're right, I'm not an ordained psychoanalyst, but that I have watched hours of interrogation videos on YouTube, okay? And I can safely diagnose Kevin Spacey here as a bit off, right? It's a bit off, isn't it? The way he's saying, well, I can confirm that I did speak to many successful businessmen who helped me with my endeavors. Okay, well, that's got nothing to do with it. We're worried about Jeffrey Epstein. Yes, and I can confirm that Robert Earl and Pablo Blabovich and Robert Earl, and they all did help me. What are you talking about? You're distracting us, you actor.
Do you know who I never asked for anything? Was Jeffrey Epstein. I didn't want to be around this guy because I felt he put the president at risk on that trip to South Africa because there were these young girls. And we were like, who is this guy?
Now, one of those other psychoanalyst channels like Dr. Todd Grande would probably say, I'm not making any diagnosis. Well, I fucking am. That is weird. Weird! Okay? You should not be saying stuff like, what is the story? Can we get this straight? I did not know who he was. Or I was saying, Mr. President, I don't like this guy one bit. Look at all the young girls that are around us. This is very odd. This is bad. This is a bad look. What was going on? Do you not even remember him? Or were you really concerned about all the young girls you were surrounded by?
So I will say this.
There were young girls on those flights.
There were young girls on those flights, yeah.
Oh, God, that would be exactly where some other cringe channel would put, and at this point, it was at this point that he knew he'd fucked up. Right? I'm never going to use that clip anywhere. But he's mentioned the young girls there very casually, and Piers Morgan goes, there were young girls on the flights. And Kevin Spacey says, yes, there were young girls, yes. Well, that's news.
Where do you live now?
Well, it's funny you asked that question.
Hilarious, clearly.
Because this week, where I have been living in Baltimore, is being foreclosed on. My house is being sold at auction.
Really?
So I have to go back to Baltimore and put all my things in storage.
Really?
So the answer to that question is, I'm not quite sure where I'm going to live now.
Broke bitch mountain. Got him.
Are you facing bankruptcy?
Been a couple of times when I thought I was going to file, but we've managed to sort of dodge it, at least as of today.
How much money do you have?
None.
Really?
Well, I mean, you have some sense of legal bills.
Yeah.
I still owe a lot of legal bills that
I
have not been able to pay.
You're actually in debt?
Yes.
Do you mind me asking how much you owe?
It's considerable.
Millions?
Many millions, yes. The house itself is many millions.
What are you going to do?
Get back on the horse. Get back on the horse.
Well, on a serious note, these allegations, which he's all, he's been cleared of, and they were nothing allegations anyway. It's like, oh, he touched a guy in 2001 or something. I don't want to see somebody's life ruined over something like that, obviously, but there's something not quite right about Kevin Spacey. Everything just feels too much like an act, I feel like there may be other skeletons in the closet. Okay? I'm just speculating, but yes, those allegations were kind of nothing. He's been cleared of any wrongdoing. But what about all the Epstein stuff? What about all those humanitarian missions with the Clintons? You telling me there was nothing going on there? Maybe there wasn't. Just a bit of an odd vibe, though. Anyway, we're going to end this video with a quick look at a little anecdote I heard about Prince Harry, which drew my attention. Let's take a look.
Are you hanging with Prince Harry? What is that like?
We have hung out with him before.
Really? And what do you guys do?
Taylor in the face one time. How hard was that smack in the face?
Pissed me off, actually.
So this was from the Howard Stern show 3 years ago. And I'd never heard this story before, but apparently Prince Harry violently attacked the drummer of the Foo Fighters. Maybe the name confused him. But he slapped the drummer of the Foo Fighters unprovoked in what may or may not have been an ayahuasca-induced, drug-fueled rage. Again, we're speculating. I don't think Epstein was involved on this occasion. But he attacked the drummer of the Foo Fighters, and you'll see what happened.
Why, you didn't bow to him or something? What happened?
No,
you didn't bow?
What happened? You didn't bow? God, I hate Howard Stern. What a creep. I really don't like him. I've got a video on him on my Patreon channel. Check it out. Ugh.
We literally were doing something similar to this, but not similar to this. We were playing somewhere in England, and we had just flown over, and literally had 2 hours sleep, and we were doing a show in some ambassador's backyard or something. And he walked in, Harry, and a bunch of his people around him, and he goes, "How you doing?" And I'm like, "I can't wake up. I'm so tired. I gotta play. I can't wake up." He just goes, "Bam!"
What the?
And I went, "You mother." And then it's like two guys were right there. And he's like, "You awake now?" or something like that. I'm like, "Yeah."
So the Foo Fighters, jet-lagged, arrived at some ambassador's house somewhere. They don't even know where they are. He's half asleep and can't respond as Prince Harry comes in, surrounded by his goons. Now, imagine what an absolute prick this guy is. I swear to God. I've said many times, I think Prince Harry is worse than Meghan in many ways. He really is just an entitled brat who thinks everything in his life is horrible and he can kind of do what he wants without any repercussions. That is insane. That is like Mayor Quimby's fucking nephew in that episode of The Simpsons. Just an absolute brainless millionaire kid who thinks he can slap a world-famous musician across the face and just have his goons say, whoa, calm down when the guy says, fuck you. When he gets up to retaliate. That's just fucking crazy. So he wanders in with his two big fucking heavies on either shoulder. And when the guy doesn't say, it's just like, oh man, I can't wake up. He slaps him, clocks him across the face. You heard Dave Grohl at the beginning. He says, how hard was that slap? Right? So he really leathered him. And then when the guy gets up to defend himself, he has his goons. That is just fucking crazy. It's I thought that was crazy. I can't believe I've never heard that before. That's the kind of thing that I really don't like. All the feeling sorry for yourself and everything, that's very cringe and it's funny to laugh at. But all of that comes from a place of feeling that you are entitled to more. Despite all of your privilege, despite the fact that he wasn't ever, he was never going to be king. He could just go out and party all the time and take drugs and do whatever he wanted. He always felt like the world was unfair to him you know, that his mother had died, and he's the only one whose mother's died, you know. It really kind of angered me to hear that story. I really didn't, I don't care for that kind of behaviour. Anyway, I guess that's all we've got time for in today's video. If you've enjoyed the video, give the video a like. Bit of a mixed bag today, wasn't it? Give the video a like. Let me know what you thought in the comments, and what else? Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Share this all over the world on all of your social media. Check out my Patreon. The link's in the description if you want to get some extra videos and help out with the channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Let's cut to the outro video.
Okay, guys, so go to a guy eating cherry pies. Sounds like pelicans are after me now. Oh my God, the pelicans are after me now. Ah! There's a whole pack of pelicans after me now. Ah! There's a lot of pelicans after me now. Ah! There's pelicans after me now. Ah! 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 There's a pack of pelicans after me now. Ah! There's a whole lot of pelicans after me now. Ah! Ah! They won't stop chasing me. Ah! Even more pelicans after me now. Ah! Pelicans finally got away. Thanks for watching, Frank Down.